Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
Hello there, everybody. My name is Wami, and I hope you are doing well. Happy to kind of share a little bit about my business background. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My parents and siblings are quite heavy into business, think more like imports and that sort of thing. For me, I wanted to kind of venture out and do my own thing, and I got heavy into e-commerce. I understood early on that, to really build wealth, you want to build multiple assets and essentially keep them and hold on to them for as long as you can. And so I started doing that and built many online businesses, e-commerce, digital products, services, and I've held on to a lot of them and definitely sold a few along the ways. So I currently hold about 20 right now, online businesses. We're continually always building new ones. And there's times where we may come across a business that's maybe undervalued. And that's essentially how I came across this YouTube channel. We definitely saw that it was undervalued. There were items and things that we could definitely add on to it to increase its value. And that's why we essentially acquired it in February of 2025. And we've built it up, essentially a very high level, based on where it was before. So that's a little bit about my business background.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
There's many different reasons. So the main one is I have about 20 assets in my portfolio, and it's just becoming a little bit too much, to manage. I'm almost 40, trying to spend more time with my young kids. We've been selling off our smallest assets for the last 6 months. So this will be the 5th one. And just looking to sell off more assets, keep my bigger ones, and, just have more time to myself, sleep longer, less stress and that sort of thing.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
The amount of work that it takes to run this business, I try and be extremely efficient. Unlike my other assets where I have staff that essentially, overlook VAs that handle operations, customer service, etc. This one I've been a little bit more hands-on. So I wanted to be at the forefront, really making sure that every item that needs to be implemented is implemented. So typically, it takes me about 2 to 4 hours a week to manage this channel. And typically, because again, I need to be very efficient, I'm very aware of my time. So I try and dedicate really 1 day a week versus, I guess most people, they're maybe running it every day for a few hours. I just kind of set 2 to 4 hours a week. So typically what I'll do is, let's say it's, Friday. I'll sit down, we'll rate the scripts. So I'll rate anywhere from 5 to about 7 scripts. Now keep in mind that we do upload every day. So, one script is, one video, 1 day. So I create the script using AI. It's very straightforward. It's fairly quick. And then I go to 11 Labs and I turn that script into audio. And then I put it into a folder in Google Drive where my 2 video editors will then handle the video, creation process. So that's pretty much the bulk of it. And then during the week as the videos are made, so let's say that there's a batch of 3 videos that are made, then what I'll do is I will schedule them. And, that literally maybe takes a minute, maybe per video. But before I do that, I use AI. So I use chat and I use Canva and I create my thumbnails. I have a script on there. So it's fairly efficient, very straightforward. That part takes me anywhere from 2 to maybe 5 minutes if I'm really pushing it. So then I will create, those thumbnails and then I will post everything. So, maybe that part might take maybe 10 minutes max to upload 3 and to create all those thumbnails. Pretty straightforward. I actually don't put a ton of time into the thumbnail, but I do have a few things that the thumbnail does need. So yeah, again, it's really efficient. It's not overly time consuming. And for the scripts, you can actually even hire out so that you're more hands off. But yeah, those are things that we can talk about.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
So if I were to keep the business, there's definitely a few things that I would implement. Number one, you want to create playlists. So after they're done watching the video, it will automatically start watching the next video. So you want to have certain topics within certain playlists. And essentially that will do is long term, that will essentially stabilize your monthly income a little bit more. And you will really start earning from older videos, right? So if you can automatically have it so that, there's a playlist, once they're done watching a video, the next video will just automatically start playing, which turns into more revenue for you. So that's something that's untapped. I haven't had the time to do that, but that will should increase your income from typically anywhere from 20 to 30%, which is huge. And, that, obviously compounds as you build more videos. Definitely create more playlists. The second thing that I highly recommend is actually taking older videos and essentially rewording them and uploading them. So these are videos that have had really high views. We've essentially been doing this for many years, and it's definitely an easy way of maximizing your channel. So definitely do more of that. So you're taking videos that have done extremely well in the past. You want to reword them, right? So that it's a new video, but it's the same message, and essentially just upload and you'll get incredible views and you'll definitely earn more. So that's the second thing. A third thing that I would do is actually create more channels. You can actually do that using Descript. So with that Descript, you actually don't need video editors. So you can actually, take what's working and you can actually start using Descript to make videos for another channel. It's very straightforward. It's very, very easy. You can essentially probably sit down and maybe an hour make enough videos for 7 days, including thumbnails. So this is something that I don't know a lot of people are doing. I mean, I haven't seen too many, but definitely utilize Descript. You can make, news channels, documentary channels, finance channels, which do very well, business channels, if you wanted to kind of go down that route. But I definitely would probably stick to news. The RPMs are quite good. People are always going to be interested in news. There's so much going on in the US and all over the world and Canada. It's a great time to be in the news niche right now. So those are some of the ways that, I would go about growing this business. And the other thing too is we have never advertised on the channel in terms of we have never found advertisers. We do not actively search, for people who want to advertise. So definitely do that. Maybe hire somebody like a VA to find advertisers for you and, just pay them based on commission. So definitely utilize those 4 things. There's so much money to be made in this niche. I've barely really touched it and it's doing incredibly well. So, April tends to be slower and it's done extremely well. So definitely, continue on the same path, add on those items, and it should do extremely well long term.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
There are definitely risks in any business, really. There's never no risks in business. And that's the same for this channel. Even though it's a very stable business model, the YouTube algorithm can change. It does change. You may have views that may drop, your RPM can drop, or your views may stay the same, but your RPM drops, which means you make more money. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely risks and, those RPMs can drop depending on the niche. These are things that are impossible to predict. Everybody who's in business right now, they've been affected by tariffs that kind of came out of nowhere. There are certain things that you're able to control and things that you can't. What you can control are some of the items that I've talked about, implementing certain things so that your income is more stable, so that your income increases, by having advertisers, by maybe even working with a company like Mediavine. So they tend to pay a little bit higher, a little bit more than YouTube. So yeah, there are definitely many, many, many different ways of increasing your revenues so that, even if your RPM, let's say, if it drops, at least you have advertisers who are still paying you. And there are definitely many ways of mitigating risk.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
A business of this size, I would typically provide 30 days of training and support. We would meet via Zoom or Skype or, whatever, or, like something like Google Meet. And yeah, we would go over the business, show you exactly how I create the scripts, how I upload, just kind of the thinking process. I would go over everything that we've done with the channel to really explode revenues as we have done in the last 2 months and really hammer down the game plan long term on how to grow the channel, how to stabilize your revenues by creating playlists and, stuff like that. So 3 days training and support. I'm available via Zoom or Google Meet. We can meet via phone call. And, even after the 30 days, if you do have any questions, I am always open. I love seeing people win. I will never not write back if you email me or text. So it's technically 30 days, but I'm definitely always here for support. And, I also have a team who's, behind me, who's there to also show support. So, yeah.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earnout agreement?
No, I am not open to an earnout payment structure. We're essentially just looking to take the funds and reinvest. Plus, it's hard to know how the new owner is going to run the business. So yeah, 100% not interested in any earnouts. Yeah.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
I think this business is extremely worth buying. It's newer. It's going to be selling at a lower multiple versus if it was a 2-3-year-old, channel. The news segment, it pays extremely nice, healthy RPMs, typically $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 plus. News are always going to be relevant. It's a segment that is not going to go away. And with this channel, there's so many things that have not been implemented. And there's so much growth that's waiting to be made, so there's so many opportunities. So yeah, you definitely want to buy low, sell high. So if you can buy something like this where it's a faceless channel, so you're not having to show your face, your voice, there's a lot more value there. And yeah, just run it at least for the next year or two, and you should be able to sell it for at least 2, 3, 4x, yearly profits. This is definitely $100,000 channel in literally just a few more months. So if somebody can continue on the same path, take our recipe and keep on running with it, they should be able to win.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.